All right. Good morning, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Uh, so, I'm glad to see you that you survived the neuroscience exam, right? You did well. I mean, like, don't worry. Exam was fair, and basically, like most of the students did really well. Now we are coming to the next block: head, neck, and special senses. Basically, the good news is you should not expect to have any major changes or transitions between the neuroscience and head and neck. Essentially, the same team of the faculty will teach you in this block, and we will use the same approach. So, pretty much everything is similar. The only difference is in this block, we will have more clinical stuff because this block is basically the transition between the basic science curriculum and clinic. So it's important to have the exposure to the clinic. We do have three clinical faculties are on board: one ENT, one ophthalmologist, and one radiologist. So it's good, it's great to have them on board because eventually you can learn from the best, you can learn from the practitioners, and you will be able to communicate with them. You can ask them questions, and I am pretty sure that will be very, very useful for you before you will go to the clinic. So that is a major difference. Right. Now, we have 3 credit hours course, which translated in this semester to the 6 weeks. But basically, don't forget, we still have this break close to the end of the block. So the schedule was designed in the way that most of the material, say like 90% of the material, maybe 95, will be taught before the break. So during the break, you can review, you can revise this material, and you will have the advantage for the upcoming exams. The prerequisites, basically everything what you had in the year one. The core requisite is the neuroscience, which is understandable why. Because in this block, we will deal with all cranial nerves, and you already have been exposed to the cranial nerves in the neuroscience. Let me give you the difference. In the neuroscience, what you have learned the all cranial nerve nuclei in the brainstem, their function, and the clinical signs of the lesions of the cranial nerves, right? Am I right? Now, what we will focus on in this block, in the head and neck and special sciences block, we basically focus on the ramifications of the cranial nerves. We will focus on the branching patterns. So you will learn the specific branches of the cranial nerves, what they supply, what kind of innervation they provide, and what happened in the lesion, not the entire nerve, but the specific branch. All right. The class time is usual. The location are the same. Now, I am the course coordinator. Recently, Dr. Shukatali was, the matter of fact, the block director for the long time. He received the new assignment for the TVP block in the year 3. So basically, because of that transition has happened. Again, I'm very grateful to him. He did great job and basically did just minor changes, if so. Now, that's my email. You can contact me through the directly or through the BLC. My office hours are there. I have a co-director, Dr. Faisal Ikram. He basically will be focusing on the lab component, the maintenance of the, like we will have 4 labs working with the pro department and also microbiology lab. So the logistic is a little bit complicated, but we will let you know how exactly it will work ahead of time. Now this week there will be no anatomy lab. The anatomy labs will start from the next week. That happened to the reason. The reason is we want you to have some theoretical material ahead of the lab, so you will know exactly what to do. Now, I already had the meeting with the lab faculty. You will be provided with the exactly lab objectives, so you will know for sure what you need to identify. But we will have topic about the lab in the upcoming slides. Now, totally we have 11 instructors in this block, which is much less compared to the neuroscience block, but that's understandable. Neuroscience, it's a 7 credit hours course, we have just the 3 credits. Right. You can see that we have the all basic science. We have anatomy, physiology, pathology, pharmacology, microbiology on board, and we have the 3 clinicians as well. Right. So it's an integrative block. You will learn all structures and functions of the organs of the head and neck, and we will focus on the special senses also. We will focus out. So basically, how many special senses do we have? Human body. How many special senses do we have? 5. I know 5. If somebody has 6, I'm happy, but I know 5. So despite there are 5 of them, and we will mention them once we'll talk about the physiology topics, we will focus mostly on the disorders of the eye and ear. So otolaryngology and ophthalmology, those are most important components to deal with. And about the pharmacology, we will focus on the glaucoma as the most important topic. Eye disorders, it's so common, like so many people are struggling with the glaucoma. So you will dig down in the treatment of the glaucoma. We'll talk about the open, close angle glaucoma prevalence among the Asian and Western descendants. So it's a very interesting and important topic to deal with. Right. Now, speaking about the course objectives, so knowledge and understanding, of course, you will learn the all theory material about the head, neck, and special organ structures. So we'll learn anatomy, microanatomy, the physiology of those, pathology, pharmacology. So all will be integrated like we had in the neuroscience block. About the knowledge and skills, basically, I'll talk about the structures in the lab. Now, as I mentioned, in the lab, your major job will be to see the real structures. So I specifically requested the anatomy faculty working in the lab to focus on the demonstration of the real structures on the specimens, not on the slides. For slides, you have lectures, right? In the lab, your job will be to touch, to smell, to see, to appreciate all those specimens what we have in the lab, and we have plenty of them. So make sure you should be able to identify the specific structures which will be listed in the lab objectives. They basically will be posted in the Moodle, and they will be given you on the stations in the lab. So, and I also requested the lab faculty that they will give you like 5-10 minutes at the end of the session for the Q and answer session, as well as they give you a chance to touch the specimens and quiz yourself, right? So you're working as a team in the lab. Now, along with the 4 anatomy labs, we will have 1 microbiology lab, which is also extremely important. So you will learn how to collect a swab and identify strep infection. So that's definitely a very important experience, and basically I hope you will enjoy it. But again, all labs, they have their specific rules. Anatomy lab, microbiology lab, those rules are listed at the end of the lab of the blog booklet. Did you see the blog booklet, right? It's inside in the course, so please download it, and all information what we will discuss today, it's already written over there, including the specific rules for the anatomy and microbiology labs. And PBL sessions, in the PBL sessions and in the labs, you will be assessed also how you maintain the professional conduct with the colleagues, with the faculty and staff. It's essential, skill for the medical professional to maintain this behavior. And since you will transit to the clinic soon, basically in the clinic there is zero tolerance policy. If you do something wrong, you will be punished definitely. So please be careful and follow all important rules and regulations. Course structure. Basically, the breakdown is pretty straightforward. We will have the 40 hours lectures. We will have the 5 hours lab sessions, so 45 hours translated to the 3 credit hours. And along with that, we will have the PBL sessions. We will have 8 PBL sessions. We will have 4 PBL cases to discuss. The matter of fact, the first one will start in next week, Wednesday, right? So the first session, please be ready. I had already a meeting with the facilitators. So the first case to discuss will be laryngeal carcinoma. So please be there and make sure you learn the objectives ahead of the time. Right. So total 53 contact hours. Speaking about the schedule or schedule overview. So in this semester, normally we have 5 weeks, but because of the break we are having the 6 weeks. That is a 6 weeks journey. So in the week 1, which is started already, we have the material regarding face, nasal, oral cavities, lesions, rhinorrhea, and sore throat infections. Now the week 2, parotid infratemporal fossa, neck salivary gland diseases. The week 3 and 4 will be really heavy because here we will have in the week 3 ear, hearing, balance, deafness, otitis, vertigo. All those are extremely important, heavy tested material. And week 4 even more, we will have orbit, eye, vision, eye infection, and glaucoma. Right. Week 5, development, radiology, visual impairments. And the week 6, it's just the comprehensive review and preparing for the upcoming exams. Right. Now, speaking about the PBL. As I mentioned already, we will have 5 PBL sessions in this block, which will be translated to the 5% of the final grade. The first case, laryngeal carcinoma. The second case, otitis media. The case number 3, orbital cellulitis. And the case number 4, diabetic retinopathy. Now, exactly like you had in the neuroscience block, there will be 2 sessions. The session A and B. The session A will be in the first week and session B will be after the weekend, next week. So that will give you the weekend time to prepare for the quiz, and basically I do believe this approach will be very useful for the students. Right. Now, speaking about the lab sessions, we will have 4 anatomy labs and 1 microbiology lab. In anatomy, you will have the next week skull, face, and scalp, cranial nerves 1, 5, and 7. Next week, you will have temporal, infratemporal, pterygopalatine fossa. After that, neck organs and triangles of the neck, cranial nerves 9 through 12. And the last one, the last lab, will be about the ear and eye, including the cranial nerves which supply the eyeball, and cranial nerve number 8. In the micro lab, you will have identification of the strep through culture and rapid test. So that is the lab sessions. Again, lab is extremely important material. All lab sessions are mandatory to attend. Please make sure you are there and not just simply staying or sleeping. You are in time and you are dealing with the specimens, because that's the way how you will learn how to answer OSP questions. Now, of course, the most important slide for you guys, that's assessment, right? Everybody is worrying about the exams. So again, you'll have the similar structure of the exam like for the rest of the blocks. You will have PBL grades 5%, but only given after the passing of the final assessment. We will have only 1 final exam at the end of the block. Now, MCQ translated to the 60%, SAQ to the 15%, and OSP for the 20%. Now, of course, you want to know the structure of the exam. So because it's a small, that's what we classify, the small block, only 3 credit hours, you will have just 1 final exam, and you will have MCQ 85 to 90 MCQs, right? That's what you will get. Now, short answer questions will be translated to the 14-15 questions. And OSP, that will be like 18 to 20 OSP questions. Now, this year, we most likely will have the OSP exam online, like you had in the neuroscience. But probably from the next year on, we will have the OSP on the stations with the specimens. We had this already meeting with the anatomy faculty, and But before that, we have to assess, do we have enough specimens basically for this number of the students to produce these stations. Now, speaking about the online exam, just to let you know, what will be the difference OSPI, because probably heard from the senior students about the OSPI. So the difference in this block will be there will be no pictures from the atlases in the OSPI. All pictures will be real photos from the specimens on the stations. So I would like you request to be in the lab because again, one more time, all photos will be taken from the real specimens in the lab, and you should be familiar with them. Speaking about SAQs, SAQs will come from the topics what you will discuss in the PBLs, and will come from the lectures. Not all SAQs will come from the PBLs, will be like approximately 50-50, say like that. Now, speaking about the questions, we never asked something which was not discussed in the lecture. So if you are present in every single lecture, you should be able to answer literally any question in the exam. Again, on the regular basis, we are grading the students' assessments SAQ. Just to let you some ideas. Students' answers, first of all, the SAQ will be designed, it should not be like one answer. I mean like one word answer. It should be given the sentence, right? And I'm talking about the SAQ, I'm talking about the OSPI exam also. So the point is, you should be able to answer those questions in the proper manner, like the sentence should be done. Now, we don't penalize you for the grammar, but still, faculty should be able to understand what is written, right? So if written something absurd, you will be given 0, definitely. You have to produce the proper sentence, right? That's the first one. Second one, so that's a one mistake which students are typically doing. The second mistake, quite opposite. Some of the students, instead of the answer straight to the point with the 1-2 sentence, they give the full essay, like 4 paragraphs, and they believe that's bad. It's totally opposite. First of all, once you read through this, you are lost the idea, and most importantly, somehow along the way, students try to explain something which was not asked at all. And during this extended explanation, you're given the totally wrong perspective. So what happened at the end? Technically speaking, student answered the question at the beginning, but later on it was diminished because eventually you cannot give the full mark if it is nonsense there, at the end of the day. So my point is, answer straight to the point, 1-2 sentences, and never ever answer something which was not asked. Don't go to the extended explanation if you are not asked to do so. Okay? Any questions about the exam structure? Are we good? Because I know that's the most important stuff, definitely, for the students. Right. Speaking about the key topics which will be discussed in this block. Embryology or development. We'll talk about the development of the face and palate, as well as the pharyngeal arches and their derivatives. And basically, that's a very important topic to deal with. Development of the ear and development of the eye. We have the separate lectures about that. And we will talk about the clinical correlations with the congenital abnormalities. Right, the key anatomy topics, we'll talk about the skull, face, and scalp. The matter of fact, today we will talk about the skull from the little bit different clinical perspective, so I expect you guys to be present. Afternoon lecture. Now, the next topics will be nose and paranasal sinuses, parotid region and salivary glands, temporal and intertemporal fossa, and pterygopalatine fossa, cervical fascia and neck triangles, external and different ear structures, different eye structures, and literally all cranial nerves. literally. From 1 to 12, you need to know the ramification of the cranial nerves. That's what we will focus on in this block in anatomy. Now, key physiology topics cover all 5 special senses. So olfaction and taste will be one lecture because they both combine in the chemical sensation. The hearing will be extensive lecture. The balance will be extensive lecture. And 2 topics of the vision. So physiology of the optics and physiology of the vision, how they different. Basically, optics will introduce you with the defects related to the physics of the eye. You know, like we have myopia, we have heterotropia, so that will be done in this lecture, and how we can correct this with the contact lenses or glasses or surgery. That's the first topic. And the second topic will be basically physiology of the vision, how our eye perceive the image, translate the image, and visual pathways. So that's the 2 lectures of the vision in the physiology. Now we have a lot of the pathology in this block. So diseases of the salivary glands, laryngeal and nasopharyngeal carcinoma, oral cavity infection, systemic manifestation, ear paranasal sinuses infection, bacterial, viral, and fungal infections, common eyelid infections, pediatric ophthalmology, and so on. Now, the clinical presentations will be from the ENT about the rhinorrhea epistaxis, so throat and tonsillitis, neck swelling, deafness, and otitis and vertigo. And we will have 5 clinical lectures of the eye condition, which basically really cover all topics important to know. The matter of fact, this block is unique. Why? Because you will be back to this material only in the year 5. So it's really important, you will grasp this material right now, because the next opportunity will come pretty much in 3 years' time. Right, radiology component is also important. Of course, you know about the radiology a lot already. Why? Because we start introducing with the medical images from the year 1. In anatomy, you have the X-rays, you have MRIs, CT scans, even you have the ultrasound machine. No doubts about this, and we talked a lot about the radiology through the entire sequence of the blocks. But that's probably the first time where you will have been when you will have the experience to deal with a professional radiologist, to see from his perspective how basically the system works, and you can ask the questions and you can grasp, like from the person who dealing with the medical images on the routine base every day. Right. So textbooks, basically you require to have these textbooks. I will not go through. It's written already, and also, again, whatever we are talking right now, basically it's written in the blog booklet, what you should be able to download and to read carefully before the blog. Right, attendance policy, again, nothing new over here. It's the same attendance policy which applies to all blogs in the year 2. So please make sure you are present in most of the classes. Again, life is life. We're all human beings, right? Sometimes something could happen. So don't keep silent, don't keep quiet. Please contact as soon as possible with Mr. Montesser. Send him email, explain the situation, ask his advice, what sort of the documentation should be provided in order, to maintain the proper attendance. Okay? And that's your responsibility to check your attendance every day in your application to make sure your attendance filling up this 85% presence policy. Zero tolerance policy. So the prohibited actions are all listed over here. And the matter of fact, we have a little bit flexibility over here in the basic science, like everywhere in the world. But once the transition happened and once you will go to the clinic, that's extremely important. You know how to behave. Because in the clinic, literally, you can be kicked out immediately if you do something wrong with the patient or with the colleagues. So please be careful about this and maintain all rules and regulations. Right, speaking about AI, do you like ChatGPT? Do you? I personally don't. I use another large language model, which is much more convenient to me. And basically, like in this era of the artificial intelligence, it is hard to expect that you don't use it. Quite opposite, you should use it. But when you should use it? You should use it not during the exam or assessments or quizzes, which is strictly prohibited. You can use it for your own good. Once you learn something and you need to get the uh, quick feedback, for example, or clarify the specific point, why not go ahead? We have now really nice large language models which can help you. But again, it is not always the case. The AI can do mistakes. So my advice, actually better contact your instructors in this matter. And again, speaking about the equations, I would recommend you to use the textbook questions rather than the questions which are generated by the AI. Sometimes I personally do the research about the questions which are generated by the large language models. Sometimes they are relatively good, but most of the cases they don't. The good question could be designed, but with a really complex prompt, which could be again given only by the professional faculty, and also question after that should be assessed, the quality of the question. So if you will say just give me the questions about blah blah, it will give you the questions, but the quality will be terrible, and some mistakes definitely will be there. So do not rely on the AI alone, at least at the current stage. I mean, like in the future, it will improve, no doubts about this. But we are talking about the today's situation, right? Uh, how to succeed? Again, very important topic to deal with. First of all, I've sent email to all faculties requesting them to uh, post their presentations in the Moodle at least 24 hours ahead of the time, so you guys should be able to download it and read it before. Pre-reading, it's a really good habit. Why? Because even you don't, like memorize or understand whatever in details, whatever is written on the presentation, at least you will get some general idea what's going to happen during the lecture. And trust me, even the pre-reading, simply you read the text, it's already give you some ideas, and it's already, getting into your memory somehow in the background. Uh, During the class, active participation, clinical correlation, case presentations, that's what you should focus on. Lab sessions, you should be there. So the only my request is, please do not miss any lab. We are not able to repeat the labs. For the lectures, at least we have some recordings. You do this recordings, right? With the faculty authorization. But lab sessions we cannot record because of the ethical issues. And if you miss the lab, you miss it. And you miss it, basically it's already hit you back in the OSPE exam. So please make sure we have only 5 labs. Attendance for the lab is mandatory. You should be in time in the lab and do the proper job. PBL 5%, you will be tested on these specific skills. Again, we talked already about the MCQs, SCQs, and OSPE. It should be clear, again, nothing new for you guys in this matter. Support resources, we have a really nice program in the Alpha SL to support the students' development. We have Academic Success Center, we have library, we have academic advising, and so on. Again, one more time, life is life. If you have any situation which prevent you to be in the class, or something happened, or something else, we have to be aware about this. Not post factum, like at the end of the block, oh, I missed my classes because of that. No, it does not work in this way. You have to send email to Mr. Montesser immediately and tell him about your situation, explain what's happening, and seek his advice what exactly should be done, to maintain the proper attendance. Are we clear? Right. And again, I wish you best of luck. That is the last block in this semester. The summer break is coming. I wish you all pass this block, and I'm pretty sure you are really good students, so you should be able to do so. And good luck. If you have any questions, please free to ask.